For the last 3 years, the convention center's insurers have urged officials to replace the fire sprinklers in the exhibit halls with bigger ones. The insurers said the greatest risk to the facility is actually a fire in one of those halls, according to internal documents. Larger sprinklers, they said, offered the best protection because they could make bigger water drops. But in a memo earlier this year, a convention center official said there were no plans for bigger sprinklers. Lawyer Corey Briggs says the sprinklers are one of several fixes needed at the convention center, but delayed because there's no money.
And they say 1 year, okay, we'll think about it. The next year, okay, we're going to get some quotes. The third year, that's irresponsible.
Briggs successfully sued the city, claiming its financing scheme for the $520 million convention center expansion required a public vote. He says the backlog of repairs, including replacing the sales pavilion to the tune of $15 million, is proof operators aren't ready to oversee an even larger facility.
If you can't properly manage what you already have, and you can't properly budget for it, and you can't make a wise use of the public money you get, why would anybody in their right mind give you another $500 million or $1 billion to do something else?
Convention center officials downplay the problem.
The suggestion that the facility is in disrepair is inaccurate.
Stephen Johnson is the Convention Center Corporation's Vice President of Public Affairs. He said the larger recommended fire sprinklers are due to be installed next year at a cost of $700,000. But why did it take 3 years?
It's not the only thing that needs to happen in the building. There's multiple things that are priorities in a capital maintenance and repair log, and you have to look at the whole picture and decide what is a priority to put first and foremost. We evaluated with the city fire department the immediacy of that, and it was not an immediate issue.
He says the repairs have been misrepresented as an accumulation of needed work. Johnson says it's more of a 5-year plan going forward to fix expected normal wear and tear on a building that opened in 1989. The city's chief financial officer, Mary Lewis, elaborates.
I think there's a mischaracterization of what the needs are that have been identified for the next 5 years as a backlog.
Briggs calls that bureaucratic spin.
What they're planning to do in the coming 5 years is fix what they haven't been doing for the last 15 to 20 years. I don't care what label you put on that. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
And the convention center's own president and chief executive officer, Carol Wallace, implied in a 2013 memo the center did have a backlog. Wallace wrote of a, quote, urgency to address deferred maintenance in excess of $30 million. Wallace wrote that the facility's reserve account had been depleted by the failed $10 million effort to expand the center. So now the question remains, how to pay for the $30 million in repairs when the convention center's own budget is $33 million. The convention center first opened 25 years ago. Johnson says the city set aside money each year to run the facility, pay for maintenance, repairs, and future projects. But years later, the city eliminated that funding and required the convention center to make annual requests for money. Johnson says the city now gives the convention center $3.4 million every year, but nearly $2 million of that is spent on a contract with the San Diego Tourism Authority to market the building. Johnson says it's not enough to pay for the center's upkeep.
The real big challenge we face is funding the replacement of the sale pavilion.
The Convention Center Corporation is looking at offering naming rights to companies in exchange for paying for the replacement. That practice, says Briggs, is an admission that the city and the Convention Center Corporation don't have a funding mechanism that allows it to break even. San Diego CFO Lewis says it's the city's job to keep the Convention Center in shape, and the Convention Center's business is proof that the city is honoring its commitment. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.